Welcome to the Franchise Woman Podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles. I'm here with my co-host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. So, Tracy, our special guest today is Sophia Wastler. Sophia is the founder and visionary behind the Starz Program, a pioneering company that enriches the lives of children through dance, sports, cheerleading, and fitness. Since its inception, the Starz Program has helped countless children shine while also offering business ownership opportunities for passionate individuals looking to make a difference. Now, Sophia's work has earned her multiple honors and recognition, including RVA Awesome Founder of the Year, Small Business Person of the Year Award from the U.S. Small Business Administration in Richmond District, and recognition as one of the top 50 Women of Wonder in franchising by Franchising Magazine. The Starz program was named one of the top 100 game changers for 2024. Oh my gosh, Sophia, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you both.
Wow, congratulations on all of those accomplishments. Plus, on top of it, celebrating 20 years of your program. Yeah, I'm sure Rebecca and I would love to hear more, and our listeners would love to hear more about this journey of yours that you've been on.
Oh, 20 years, it really has been quite the journey. We're not the same company that we were 20 years ago, of course. And I really think it's so interesting how personal development and entrepreneurship, as your business grows, you change as a person, you're challenged as a person. And it's one of the things that I love change. I think a lot of people don't love change. I do. And it's just been really fun to keep evolving and growing personally and professionally throughout this journey. And, one of the things too that I think is so great is now that we are franchising is with each new franchise owner that kind of comes into our system, they bring in their energy and their new ideas, and we just together keep getting stronger, growing and evolving. And it's been really such a fun journey from bootstrapping in the very beginning to where we are now, starting to grow as an emerging franchise brand.
You said something that was fascinating to me, that you actually love change and you embrace change, and you're even embracing new franchisees coming in and they have ideas and opinions and thoughts, and you're listening to that, allowing you to continually evolve and change. 20 years is a long time to be doing this. You've had a huge, huge impact, but I got to tell you, I'm not great at change. The older I get, the harder I get. So my curiosity is here. I know you're first generation American. Is your ability to adapt and change have anything to do with your cultural background? And do you mind sharing a little bit more about that?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for asking about that. My grandparents, both sets of them, immigrated into the US in the 1950s. Well, my mom's parents in the 1950s. My dad's family came a little later. He was a little older when he came to the States. But, I just often think about what they had to endure I mean, they left behind, they came to a country, they didn't know the language, they didn't know anybody here. So you're absolutely right, Rebecca, they had to adapt. And, they did that in hopes of creating more opportunity for themselves and for their children and for future generations. And so when I think about like challenges, I really think about what a privilege it is to be here and to be able to chase my dreams and to wake up every day and chase my passion and my purpose. And what my grandparents had to go through to allow me the privilege to be here doing what I'm doing today. So that might be one of the reasons why I'm more open to change.
That's so beautiful. Do you think that entrepreneurship allows you to honor your grandparents in some way and everything that they went through so that you could have opportunities?
Tracy, I 100% think that's an accurate statement. I do it to honor them. I mean, they both lived, my grandparents lived long, wonderful lives. They were well into their 90s. So I was actually in my mid 40s when my grandmother passed. But I do pursue my passions in their honor 100%.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I love this story. So your family are from the island of Cyprus. So tell us more about the culture itself, and if you've actually had an opportunity to travel back and get a good feel of that. That's a very distinct culture. How has this being raised first generation American in this culture, how has that affected you?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I have been there multiple times. It's a beautiful island and with beautiful people and just very kind, caring, thoughtful, compassionate people is what you'll find in the island of Cyprus. And also, I think, and I'm sure I'm not alone, there's a lot of, as women in general, I think we tend to put our families first, we put our children first, we kind of don't prioritize ourselves, and that's modeled even in these, especially in ethnic cultures, I think even more so, where it's like women tend to take care of everybody else before they take care of themselves. And so I'm learning I'm learning the importance of self-care as I get older and how it really is the highest form of self-love. And we as women have to take responsibility for ourselves, for our health, our physical well-being, our emotional well-being. We have so many thoughts throughout the day, so many feelings throughout the day, and all of them have an emotional charge to them. And that could be a positive charge, it could be not a positive charge, a negative charge. And so I think taking responsibility for the things that we don't like in ourselves and improving them and empowering ourselves to prioritize ourselves so that we can show up better for our family, for our businesses, for our children, and for each other. So that's something that I'm really I'm leaning into more so at this stage of my life.
Totally speaks to me. That totally.
Well, let me ask you a question. And the island of Cyprus, is it pretty much Greek and Turkish, or because when I think of both of those cultures, I do think of women who give and nurture their families and build I think of the big fat Greek wedding, right? I think this sense of where there's really, you wonder if there's any real time for you. So is it both Turkish and Greek, or primarily Greek, or tell me more about.
It's its own country, but you're right, it is right off of Greece. And there is a Turkish occupied side of Cyprus. But the culture in all of those countries are just exactly as you described. You're going to find the women cooking for their children, their children's children, their neighbors. They're always thinking about others and what they can do in service of others. And that's something that comes really natural to me is just thinking about others and what they might need, which is a great thing, right? But as long as we're also prioritizing our needs and taking responsibility for ourselves and how we feel as well.
The other thing that struck me, Sophia, is when you said that we have a lot of feelings throughout the day, which is totally true. and they each have a positive or a negative charge to them. So when you think about, sometimes there could be a woman who has a hectic life and, her family needs her and her parents need her or her in-laws need her. How is it that she is able to not feel guilty for taking time out? I mean, this is all hypothetical, of course, none relating to me, but how is it that somebody can not feel guilty by focusing on themselves and saying to everybody, hey, I need a minute for myself?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that these feelings are just feelings. And I don't know about you guys, but growing up, I was kind of taught, oh no, you shouldn't feel that way or don't feel that way, and they're kind of dismissive, instead of embracing, this is my feeling, and it's not necessarily good or bad, it's just a feeling, and allowing yourself to have that feeling and not judge it really. And so, as far as feeling guilty, it's really just, is that really our feeling of feeling guilty, or have we been taught we should feel guilty for doing that? Yeah. So
Wow.
really, yeah, there's so many layers to, and that's why I really am also passionate about helping empower women, because I think so often it's just not, there's so many societal norms, and there's so many things that I think we can level up, if you will. And um, as a business owner, and of course it's been 20 years now, going to networking events or going to franchise events, so much male dominant, so many, and it's changing, right? We have more women in business, we have more women in leadership roles and in franchising, and that's so wonderful, but it's still not enough. I really want to empower women to take charge of their future, and to create the future that they really want to have.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of things, and you hit on it too, Tracy, with this feeling of women are more feeling oriented. And the way you separated it, where you said, is this really me that's feeling it, or is it societal norms thinking I should be Wonder Woman and I should be, feel guilty or shame if I'm taking some time for self-care? But you're literally taking that emotion and you're not giving it more charge than is necessary, right? You're separating it from, what are my goals? Where am I going? How do I take care of myself? How do I take care of others, and do so in a healthful way? Can you share with us how this mindset that you have has not only empowered your journey, which I want to know more about, but now in turn you're empowering other women to keep this kind of mindset?
Yes, so important. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And I believe it was Henry Ford that said that. And it just speaks to the power of your mindset. And I can give you a specific example, a few of them actually. When I first got into franchising, I was told you need $1 million to launch a franchise. And so I was telling myself the story. Oh, you're undercapitalized. Oh, you can't do it. And so then it really puts you in this place, in this headspace where you see nothing but obstacles,
Mhm.
versus something has to shift. And that's what we try to do in Starz classes, is teach children when they go, I can't do it, I can't do it. We teach them to say, I'll try. Okay, let's try. And then we want to go from I'll try to I can. And it's that inner voice. We all have this inner voice, and for most of us, it's an inner critic. But we want to kind of evolve that to become an inner champion and change that dialogue. And so it's really about whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, and that's going to determine the outcome that you get in so many situations.
What this is making me think of is you're teaching children, you're learning and you're teaching children, or you're teaching them what you've learned and culminated from your life. What are you learning from them? What are you learning from the teaching?
Oh my gosh, there's so much we always learn from that is the case all the time, isn't it? I mean, I was a score mentor. I think we were gonna, Rebecca and I share that in common, and I'm sure we'll touch on that in a little bit. But being a coach and a mentor, you always end up learning from your clients, even though it's the other way around. So the same holds true with children. I mean, I love working with children so much. They don't have the judgment that grown-ups do. They just have this pureness of heart and this light, and just this kindness, and radiate their own light. They're not so worried about what other people think or what other people will say. So they're just so lighthearted and playful.
Yeah.
Play. Let's talk about play and how we learn through play as children and how we become more confident. In fact, a lot of your work with the Starz program was because you were a teacher initially, right?
Yes.
Noticed that, sport and physical wellness and all of those things really led to a more rounded, healthier individual. Can you talk a little bit more about that for us, Sophia, of what dance and sport and how that really affects our kids?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I was a middle school teacher for Virginia Beach City Public Schools, and I taught health and physical education. And I just really saw a strong correlation between the students that had a foundation in athletics. Those were the ones that were quick to participate in programs, and they did better in school academically, they had better friend groups, they had higher self-esteem, higher self-confidence. And I also noticed the opposite was true. The students that maybe their parents were working and they just couldn't put them in Little League, or they didn't have those same opportunities. If they didn't have those foundational skills to be able to engage in athletics, they were the ones that were tending to do not as well academically, and did not have the best friend groups, and to be getting in trouble and to be struggling. And so, I realized at that time that's when we needed to kind of get students at a young age to start building these essential skills, so that as they get older, they feel more confident to participate. And because I do believe there's a strong correlation. When you improve your fitness level, you feel better about yourself, and you've got that, or you didn't know how to do a skill and you learned how to do it, and now you're a little bit more confident. And that's so evident, especially when you're working with children.
Wow. The question that I have actually is, when, let's say you have a family, like you said, where the parents are working and they're unable, or they don't have the time or the resources to put their child in some kind of structured physical activity. What do you recommend in a situation like that?
Well, that's why the children's enrichment industry, Tracy, is so strong. I mean, that's where the Starz program comes in, and there's a lot of programs in this space. I mean, we work in schools, preschools, with sometimes 14 other programs, whether it's an art program or, karate or STEM. So Starz is one of many programs in this space, and it's a wonderful space for multiple reasons. One is those working parents, I mean, they're dropping their child off at daycare at 6 a.m. They're picking them up at 5 or 6 p.m. And it's really difficult for them to go to dance, and take their child to dance in the evening, or to soccer. And so Starz and these other programs fill these gaps where we can provide this type of enrichment and structured activities and specialized learning on site at the schools during non-instructional time so that we can enrich those children's lives and parents can, they can focus on their work and pick up their child knowing that they've already had the extras.
Nice.
Such a
Wonderful.
beautiful thing. So the program itself, are you going into environments to provide this? So you're taking cheerleading or dance or some kind of fitness directly to them.
Yes, that's exactly right. So we'll partner with the school, and the school might say, well, we like your sports program. We see that you teach a new sport every month. We'd like to offer that to our families and maybe also the dance program, or let's offer dance and cheer, or some schools might hire us to be their fitness provider and we do like a PE program to the entire school. But most of our program are these specialized classes that parents will elect to enroll their children in.
That's interesting. Did you start off Starz program with maybe one sport and then evolve over time? I love the flexibility of it.
Yeah, no, so it was started as just dance and sports because those were my two.
Yeah.
I was a ballerina. I went to governor's school as in high school, and I was always a dancer. And then I got into PE and fitness. So it started with dance and sports, and then we just kind of added from there. Cheerleading came next. We have a creative movement program specifically for 2-year-olds. We just started an enriched flow curriculum, which is brand new, and that's combines like yoga, mindfulness, emotional processing, storytelling, imagination. It's a really neat curriculum. And yeah, so some schools might offer just one, and some schools might say, we want to have, 3 of these programs. And so we'll come the same day and time each week and teach that class.
I like the way you've set this up. It kind of addresses what Tracy talked about with these busy moms and dads. If it's right there at school, an after school program, it makes life easier. Plus, now you're doing it with all your friends and you're going to see them in the hallway, and it works on those social skills and, sense of togetherness that we all need, especially in today's world where we become so high tech that we're now doing things with others in our own schools. So I really appreciate that. My grandson, Sophia, is 7 and he's homeschooled, but he plays some sports with the local school. And it's so funny to kind of watch as last night he played basketball, those first few minutes where these other kids kind of know each other well and he doesn't, he's a little awkward. And then within just a few minutes, boom, he's a new kid. He's just a new kid playing, in this case, basketball. Okay, I got a question though, because you kind of hit on it and now I'm curious. Backtrack for me to SCORE. Tell us what SCORE is and how you got involved.
Yeah, so SCORE is a division of the SBA, the Small Business Administration. It's a national organization that connects volunteer mentors with budding entrepreneurs. And I think it's a phenomenal program. During the pandemic, when work slowed down for me, I thought, I need to do something. So I connected with them and went through their training program, and I just loved so much being able to help other female entrepreneurs talk through their business plan and hear about their business, or not even, you don't even have to be a budding entrepreneur. You could have an existing business and be in business for a long time, but SCORE just is really there to help business owners. And I love that you're not going to get a bill for $250 an hour. It's completely free. So it's a phenomenal program. I'm sure your listeners, as business women or businessmen, could find great value. And we all could use somebody to talk to about our businesses.
Mm.
So true.
Speaking of businesses, I would love to hear more about the brand, the messaging of Shine.
Yeah, so at Starz, our slogan is to spread shine. And it's interesting, Tracy, we always ask, we have a dance recital at the end of every year for the students, and we sometimes will ask students, what does shine mean to you? And we get the best answers.
Yeah.
And to me, I think shine is kind of just embracing your light. It's being who you are. It's encouraging others. It's helping others. So it's spreading shine is really just about empowering and encouraging one another.
I
Nice.
love the word shine for a lot of reasons because it brings up all these metaphors, don't hide your light under a bushel, it talks about that in various scriptures.
Yes.
And a lot of time, so if we see ourselves as a light, right, and we're not fully shining, we're not reaching our full potential, or for that matter, as you pointed out, having an impact on others the way we could, meaning we could in some way share our talent or gifting or ideas or whatever it is. But if we literally visualize ourselves as a light that should shine, then everything around us needs to move out of the way so we can shine, so to speak. So this is a beautiful culture, a beautiful message that you have. So at the headquarters, how do you help your team shine? What best practices do you have in place for each of them to shine?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad you asked that. And your interpretation of shine was so beautiful, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing that. And you're right, we should not dim our light. We need to embrace ourselves fully and in what we're doing and chase our passions and our purpose. And so I agree. At our headquarters, I'd say that, the franchisees that we have in our system, they all have different goals. And, we collectively at Starz really like that you can be an owner part-time. Most of our owners, actually all of our owners are mothers. And so they have children, they have families, and we love that we can make profits and make an impact, but also have a life. And so, back to your question though, shine from our headquarters is really supporting our owners in the way that they want their businesses to operate for them and the goals that they have for themselves.
So that really makes so much sense to me. I think it all just fell full circle where you have a lot of franchisees who are part-time mothers, and mothers a lot of times are the ones who put themselves last, right? Like you said earlier, caring for your family. So I really love that, how you are so such an advocate for self-care and, empowerment and all of that, not only with the franchisees, but through SCORE as well.
Oh, thank you, Tracy.
Great.
It's been a journey, right? And we keep learning, we keep growing, and we keep getting better. And yeah, I think that's what it's all about.
Well, then let me ask you this. So you know a lot about self-care. What are you continuing to learn?
Well, I've learned a lot lately. First of all, I think as we get older, we just accept certain things like, oh, I'm going to have a pain here, but we don't have to accept that we have a chronic pain and so recently I uncovered myofascial work. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's the John Barnes myofascial release. And so whether it's physical, whether a lot of the work that I do, self-care, is emotional, I just make sure I'm taking time every day whether it's 5 minutes or it's an hour. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 15 minutes. On a day off, it might be an hour, but I make sure I take time every day to check in with how my body's feeling, how my emotional state is. Like, what's the inner dialogue that I'm telling myself? Is it one that I like, or is it one that's like, Sophia, you might be working a little too much and you might need to take a step back. So just checking in with myself every day. So I've heard the saying, like, fit body, fit mind, fit business. And I think it's important that it's just a whole system.
Yeah. And what you've demonstrated is how they really are symbiotic in many ways. If I'm healthy and fit in mind and healthy and fit in body, then I have what it takes to have a healthy and fit business, right?
Yeah, to thrive, to really thrive. And that's where we're striving for, is just to really to be thriving in all of those arenas, all of those areas.
Nice.
Go back to this idea of spreading shine. I think there are people that walk into the room and they're like the flame that attracts moth, right? And they just sort of spread joy and they spread happiness and they spread some contagious energy, for lack of a better way. Do you think that comes from physical fitness? Do you think that comes from the mindset where you can literally, just your presence can change the way people think and feel?
That's a great question. I mean, initially I want to say yes, because when you feel, I know when you're feeling good, your energy level and your fitness is good, your energy levels tend to naturally be a little bit higher, but I think that's not the full picture. I mean, that's one aspect for sure, but there's some people that just, I think it's the inner work, and it's what's inside. And when you can lead from what's inside, you're gonna have that radiance and be able to spread that to others. So I think it can be both.
It's
Yeah.
like what Wayne Dyer used to talk about, right? When you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. So whatever's inside comes out.
Yeah, that's right.
That's,
I love that. That's a good one.
I know I've been dealing with some health issues off and on for a couple of years. And I know when I'm in kind of one of those funks, health-wise, even though I consider myself pretty good with the mental component, I can go to a conference and I feel invisible,
Oh,
right? And then when
yeah.
I'm healthier, both in mind and in body, there's an attraction that happens. So that spreading that you talked about spreading that shine. So I agree with you. I think the the mind and the mental component combined with the physical really allows us to shine brighter. And it's a little bit dulled when we got an ache and a pain and
Yeah, great example. Great example. Yep.
all right. I have a question about the future. About the Starz program. What are you seeing the future? What challenges is your business going to address in the future for our children?
Yeah, I think the future with Stars, where we really are focused on physicality, and we're just now kind of more tapping into that emotional space and that inner work. So combining the two is really where I see the future, us going in the direction with Stars, and just being able to enrich bodies and minds, and know that we're helping put children in a better position to do life. I mean, to be resilient, to have a better mindset. So that's where we're headed, and I love that we're taking on new dedicated owners and the program is growing. We're in 3 states now, and I'm looking forward to expanding more. Yeah, I don't know the challenges that lie ahead, but I know mindset wise that we'll be able to overcome them working together as a team.
Well, you may not know challenges ahead. However, has there ever been any challenge in the past that you had to overcome, or you learned, or you grew from, or you said, gee, I wish I knew this when I was starting my business?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's probably a million, Tracy, but I would just say, if I could tell my younger self
Mm,
something, especially going back like 20 years, it was you're never going to be ready. I mean, you just have to go for it and trust in yourself, and don't listen to the naysayers. There's always going to be, don't leave your job, don't do this, but just trust yourself and go for it.
yeah.
That you can do it.
Mm-hmm. So what this triggered in me was this whole idea of perfection, right? That some of us are really driven to do it right, to do it perfect, to have that perfect kind of business plan and execution plan or whatever. And so we never take the action. And what I'm hearing you say is just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
We can course correct over time. And of course, you want to reach out and get mentors and get feedback and all of that. But start. You can do it. It may not be perfect the first time or the second time or the third time, but you can definitely.
Yeah, and that it's okay to fail. I mean, you're gonna fail, and that's, I think when you're first starting out, you think everything's going to be a certain way, and or this opportunity is going to be the biggest opportunity, and then it doesn't work out, and then you're disappointed, and then yeah, just taking those steps, just keep taking those steps, and if it didn't work out, it wasn't a failure. It's just a lesson that that's not the right path, and you're going to find another way.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I'm sure our listeners are going to want to hear more about you, learn more about you, learn more about the Starz program. Where can they reach you?
Yeah, so Starz is on Facebook, it's on Instagram. I believe we're getting ready to launch our YouTube channel. We're on LinkedIn. Under the Starz program is STARZ. So Starz is with a Z, Starz program. And yeah, I'm on social media as well, Sophia Wastler.
Nice.
Oh, Sophia, you've inspired me. You really,
Mhm.
really,
Yeah.
you shine. What can I say? You shine
Oh,
and you're contagious in many, many ways. I think you're right. I think the way your business is going to evolve is to deal with that emotional component more and more, because it creates that more holistic approach. And so it's you've already handled it in yourself and with your franchisees. Now it's going to spill over to our children, where we can deal with that component to help them build tenacity and grit and focus and manage their emotions and all of that. It's going to be beneficial. So thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing with us your journey from the Isle of Cyprus to the Starz program. So
yeah.
for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved our conversation, Rebecca and Tracy, and thank you for all you ladies do as well, and getting the Franchise Woman podcast out there to all of your listeners.
Appreciate it. And Tracy, your final thoughts. This is kind of in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. But you know what's so funny, Rebecca? So I had written down something that just struck me, and then it was something Sophia said immediately after that, which was that shine stood for the embodiment of light. And then you said, oh, you've really embraced your light. And I had just written down that Sophia reminds me of a beautiful light that shines from within that then shows on the outside. And then I got the imagery of a candle, because there's one candle igniting another. I have the chills right now. And that's the way, I mean, you're like the embodiment of a candle. I don't know what to say, because I know all of these, the self-care and the movements and the, mindset, but the way you phrase things gives it like a whole next layer of meaning.
Oh my gosh, Tracy, I can't even. I was gonna tell you, we were at a team meeting one time in Virginia Beach, which is where our main corporate location is, that's been around for 20 years. And one of my teachers said that exact example. She said, when you take a candle, because we were talking about what shine means, and she said, when you take a candle and it's lit, you can pass it and you can light all of these other candles and still have your own strong flame. And so the fact that you just said that, and I wanted to share that, is just on my mind right now, because
And I have chills head to toe, chills, total chills head to toe.
wow.
Nice.
Thank you for your kind words. That was really touching. Thank you.
You're the embodiment of a
That was
candle.
beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you, Sophia. And thank you to those listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. Make sure to comment, share, like Sophia's interview today, and we'll see you next week on another episode.